writers and friends. I am glad to be back with you today. Got on some stripes. Decided to break away from the brown shirt, despite it's clearly one of my favorites. So it's Monday. Got another blog out, and for those of you who subscribe to my newsletter, got a newsletter out for you as well, or it's going to be hitting your inboxes very shortly. Today's topic for the blog itself is about toxic productivity, or like toxic self-improvement rather. So I've seen a couple headlines about this lately, and honestly I'd been thinking about it for a while before it started hitting the headlines. It's getting more airtime in this idea of like, can we over improve ourselves, or maybe not over improve, but can we hit a point where we're just spending so much energy on self-improvement that it's almost like, what are we doing now? This is what I talk about in the blog today. So I'm just freestyling here about this content, but if you want a more coherent and a little bit of a deeper dive, go check out the blog. I'll put the link in the description box as usual. But basically this idea has kind of been coming to me over the past maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe a little bit longer, but round about the time I decided to take a little bit of a slowdown on my commitments and my work, and I've been enjoying that so much and realizing like it was scary to start as an overachiever, to turn down the volume on the busyness, but it's so worth it. And then I kept consuming the level of self-improvement content that I typically do, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I read books and blogs and things like that, but most of my self-improvement content comes from YouTube videos. And I just realized like all the channels I was subscribed to, the things that were coming up in my feed, they kind of gave me a pit in my stomach sometimes to watch them. It would be like I'd get these videos and it would just be this kind of low grade anxiety of, am I doing enough? Am I like improving myself enough? Is there more I need to do? Like, oh my gosh, I spend so much time already trying to learn skills and achieve and have a clean house and make sure my inbox is cleaned out and respond to people's messages and, like all the stuff of life, right? And I've written about these things as well, but it just felt like I kind of hit a wall maybe in what I was consuming and like the expectations that set for me, for myself. And a similar feeling, like I used to get Martha Stewart magazine a while ago, and I remember at one point I stopped it because I was like, gosh, every time I get this magazine, I'm so unhappy with my own house. My place suddenly feels like it needs an immediate makeover, and I have a really cute little house. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's good, but it somehow like, I don't know, it just produced this deep seated, almost like a cross between envy and anxiety of like, is my house pretty enough? Is it on trend enough? Like, and why do these things matter to me? I'm not really like a trends person. So, it was a lot. And that's kind of what I feel like is coming up here with just this drive to improve myself. So I kind of realized like 2 things. And again, I talk about them in more detail on the blog, but basically like I realized that one of the kind of unspoken goals I think I had in my mind was like, if I improve myself enough, people will like me more. I'll have more friends, more success, less anxiety, less like relationship challenges, kind of fill in the blank, like improvement as a cheat code or like a hack for just being happier in life, or happier with other people, or whatever label you'd put on it. But I realized like, ooh, that's not where good connection comes from. Like good connection can definitely include working on yourself, like going to therapy or, reading books that target stuff you struggle with. And like you can learn for sure how to be a better communicator and a better partner and a better friend and all of these different pieces. But like just generic or like grand self-improvement as a constant mindset actually doesn't really make you a better, person in connecting with people, right? And so that was something I had to really like kind of figure out, for myself and like let it sink in, like, oh wow, I think I really do think this. So the other piece was I kind of realized, like, I think I've hit maximum self-improvement. And I don't mean that as I have nothing more to learn. I just mean that, like, the areas that I was really focusing on, I've learned a lot about and I feel pretty good about. And they feel like they're mostly, under control now, which is part of why I give you guys the content I do, is like, especially as a writer, I'm always improving. Like, writing is not something I feel like I've maxed out my self-improvement in. Let me be very clear about that. Writing is always a constant challenge, but other things like, household routines and productivity and time management, like these are things that are, they're skills that you build and you practice over time. But I feel like you can hit a point where you've gotten sort of the maximum return on your time investment. It's sort of like finishing a college degree, right? Like, you've met the curriculum, you've learned what you need to learn. Now it's time to go out there and live it. So, again, I'm not advocating that you shouldn't be working on like developing things that you want to develop and things you want to learn and areas you really do want to see improvement on, whatever improvement looks like for you. But if you're sort of consuming self-improvement content just because you feel like there's something wrong with you, and there actually isn't, like, in the sense that, you're living a pretty successful life and you're in a place you want to be in general, like, that's a good sign that you probably don't need to develop yourself anymore, or like improve yourself anymore. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's food for thought. It's just really been sticking with me lately, and seeing these other headlines around about other writers and content creators and people who are kind of in this space having that same realization, like, this is interesting. It's not just me. It's a lot of us out there. So I'd love to know in the comments what your thoughts are about this topic. And as always, I'll put the link to my blog below. And I'd love if you subscribe to the newsletter. You get some extra bonus content, additional musings maybe, and some point outs to some of my favorite pieces from the last little while. So hope you have a good rest of your evening, and see you soon.